All right. So here's a video that I woke up and had to make. I have been watching the very, very good miniseries on Netflix. This is not a promotion of Fallout. Now, I never played Fallout, but there are a lot of really interesting, important themes in Fallout um, that relate directly, beginner, believe it or not, to the beginner boost and why I started Skill Stack and why, most importantly, and this is why you want to listen to this if you want to listen at all, why you should get a job in tech or at least consider getting a job in tech. What do all these things have to do with one another? Well, let's jump into it. So, first of all, it's widely accepted that we are now living in late stage capitalism. It hasn't failed yet. You will probably, speaking of you, speaking to the people that are younger than me, you will see carnage. You will see the collapse of this form of capitalism. It will happen. It's happened every other cycle. Capitalism has a cycle, um, which I think is something like every 42 years. I don't know. It's whatever. But capitalism is it's probably the best system we have, but it still sucks and it has to get corrected all the time. And there's so many more authoritative people to listen to on this topic, both of any political or philosophical persuasion. You can go look them up. But Robert Reich, who wrote Saving Capitalism, is a good one. There's a couple of documentaries on capitalism you can go get. And they always talk about how capital is different in every one of the forms of capitalism that there's ever been since the dawn of time. Capital changes, and I'm not going to spoil it for you. You're going to have to go look up what the form of capital that we are living under today is. It's pretty interesting stuff. But why do you care? You already know that we are living in, that things are failing all around us. I don't want to be a sky is falling guy, obviously, but I do want to prepare people. And the reason that I started SkillStack in 2013 is largely because of all of those things. If you want to read some pretty inflammatory ideas on to capitalism and how it actually is closer to a totalitarian state than some other forms of government, for example, I have no insurance unless I'm working for an approved company, a company that has been blessed by the system. Who blesses the company? Who blesses the systems? Who's a member of the system that does all the blessing and approving? Yeah, the people with money at the top who have the capital. And it doesn't really matter what political party. It's the people who have versus the people who don't have anything. And they're the people who are making all the rules because they have all the money and they can lobby everybody and control everything. And I don't want to get too negative and get too political. This is really supposedly, hopefully, a motivational video. So, since Fallout has been in my mind, and by the way, Fallout deals very directly with these themes. They're one of the best montages, not really a montage. I suppose it was the best, villains monologue that I've ever seen is the one where the guy talks about, he's the big boss of corporations and stuff like that, and he talks about the values. And I'm not spoiling Fallout, but the premise of Fallout is not too far from reality in terms of symbolism. For example, Fallout, the reason that everybody this is what is so, I mean, it's not a spoiler, but it's so important. The reason that we have a massive wasteland twice in Fallout, and that's kind of trying to make the point, right? Humanity completely wiped itself out once, and then it did it again. And the author is trying to get through the cycle of humanity. Anytime you let corporate greed go unchecked, is what you get. This is not a spoiler. It's not a spoiler to tell you that Vault Tech and they kept punching these words, had a fiduciary responsibility to make money. Well, you can't make money selling vaults for Doomsday if Doomsday never comes. So they inadvertently bring about, that's not really a spoiler, they inadvertently bring about the end of the world through corporate interest. And no one individual actually does that. It's this collective will of the corporation to keep, vault tech innovating and making money and for the betterment of humanity. And under all of these lies, the betterment and protection of humanity, they end up destroying humanity in the process. And you're going to say, well, how is that close to what we're having going on right now? And why do I care? And what does this have anything to do with learning tech at the beginner boost? Why are you getting so political? I'm telling you that to survive in that world, and I this is a very dark thought, but you have to choose. How am I going to survive in a world that only rewards things that promote the 1%, the lobbyists, the people that are making money at the top? How do I survive in that world? How do I mean, we already are in that world, by the way, because as I said, we can't we are paying the people, the drug companies are getting tons and tons of money. They're getting billions and billions of dollars. They're not evil. Drug companies by themselves are not evil. They provided many things that have helped us over the years. I think this is really important, including Monsanto. Yeah, Monsanto is not entirely evil. It's the people that are evil, and then the collective will of the people. Google's the same way. And the theme of Mr. Robot behind me over here, one of the themes is it's not really the corporation that's evil. It's the people within the corporation that are moving it into that spot. And there's so many of them that are. So you can actually manipulate and you can help these corporations to do the right thing because they're just made up of people. And those people, as long as you get the people to do the right thing. So you can't just throw them all under the bus. And Mr. Robot, one of Elliot's main lessons that he learns while he's doing the Mr. Robot thing is, oh, damn, instead of destroying the entire financial world and sending everybody out onto the street, I could have actually fought a better fight by working within the system, kind of spoiling my own video here, and getting a good job within the system, a corruptible, horrible, broken system, but yet a system. I can get a job within that system, and I can operate from within the system to bring about change. Because, if you just disengage, oh, evil corp, we're going to destroy it. Let's tear it all down. Anarchy never works, everybody. Anarchy never works. It never works. And, you get anarchy, you get fallout. Fallout is anarchy, right? It's like you got a bunch of people vying for power all over again. And, it just doesn't work. So how do you survive? What is this about? So, whether it be just because you need insurance. I went back to corporate America for one reason. I had no insurance. I have many people with medical problems, in their history. My wife is a cancer survivor. I have children with autism. And, this is way before I knocked my teeth out. So, you get, and, COVID, right? I had no insurance during COVID. Why? Because I did what I was told to do as a good entrepreneurial American. In 2013, nobody was teaching computer coding skills to young people in particular. And so I've told the story a million times, but I started SkillStack with my own money, took a 40% loss on my IRA money, took my retirement money, my own money out, punished by the corporate America. The people who made the rules that said you can't take your own retirement money out without a penalty, I bet you those people weren't people that wanted to start a company. They're people that wanted money. So the people who had money, once again, set up the rules, and I ended up, because I went to the bank, and the bank said, no, we're not helping you. You're too small. If I had gone to Silicon Valley and, bowed down to the throne of, venture capital, maybe they would have said, how is this going to make us money somehow? And then they would have went, wait, you don't have any way you're going to make money. You're just going to make money to sustain yourself, and you're just helping people to learn. That's great and all, but how are you going to get us some cash? We have a fiduciary responsibility as S corporations to make money. Legally, this is another thing. S corporations in the United States are legally obligated to show and to pursue profit. Period. It's written into the law. They don't have a choice. So, it's people think, oh, corporations are evil. They are evil, but they're also doing that's in their bylaws. It's illegal. It wasn't until like 2016 that the B corporation was even conceived. And the people who have money, they don't want that thing to survive. What are you talking about? We could have a corporation that's driven by benefit. It's driven by what the bylaws dictate are the benefits that we want to provide for people, not necessarily the bottom line, which is our stockholders making cash. That's how America runs. I'm sorry, I didn't make that rule. That is what capitalism is. It decides that, people get rewarded who have money. All right. I'm off topic and I don't want to depress you. I want to help you understand how to survive in this world, in this pre fallout, but not really world. The way to survive is the same way that you survive under a feudalistic society in medieval times. And I've done a video, I think, on this already, but I'm going to repeat it. Let me ask the question: Who who has a soul and still a good income under medieval society? Not doesn't take a lot of historical knowledge to know who that is. Who were the people who were alive and well and taken care of under feudalistic, really, really hierarchical systems of politics? If you said clergy, military, and blacksmiths, those are the people. Those are the people who had money. Everybody else, it was like, what can I grow on my little tiny plot of land, or what can I steal from somebody else? There's some lovely filth over here. The people who survived under that system, who weren't already royalty, were the people that were either killing and dominating on behalf of that royalty, the military class, which is well noted in every book or every documentary I've ever seen about documenting capitalism. The military class. So if you're in a military class, you're good, unless you're shot and dead, because they don't care about you. They just want to make sure you're working for them. The second is weapon on earth now. The second class was the blacksmiths. Because why? Because the blacksmiths are making the weapons and they're keeping the horses walking. Horses being the equivalent to cars today, or commerce, or whatever. You can't have commerce. You can't, take your little cart around and gather up gold and taxes and everything from all the people if you don't have a vehicle. The blacksmiths were the engineers, the primary engineers of the age. And then you have, where's the blacksmith? And a cue blacksmith meme, right? And then you have the clergy, and the clergy operated completely outside of the rules of the whole system. The dynamic between the clergy and the royalty is a really interesting one. That's a really interesting one because it was almost like you had two societies. You had feudal society, and then you had the clergy, and you had monks that were not interested in Christianity at all. Like Aquinas, in my opinion, Thomas Aquinas, they would become, Christian, and they would dedicate their life because they were the IT people. They were in there, they were scribing, they were the thinkers, and the only way they could have safety to think and to ponder and to imagine different things, even on the scientific front. Strange thing. A lot of scientific discoveries that happened in the West. Most of them were down in the Moors. They were inventing everything, but in feudal society, it was the Catholic Church and the monks. They were the ones who were thinking, and they were inventing all kinds of great things, including, I'm pretty sure, like the Magna Carta, which led to the Constitution and which led to democracy and the down. These are the people who were doing the thinking, and they were free to think, and they were provided for because the church was directly linked to the money that was coming from everybody. So, because God's got to have his money. So and not only that, the church. God, I could go on and on this one, but because the church actually, How Bear Saved the World is a documentary. It's really interesting about that, where the church would give a keg of a growler. They'd fill up a growler of beer at the end of mass, and so all the people would come to mass and they get a growler of beer and make them feel good, and it was also sterilized water, so it didn't have plague. So actually, beer helped counter the plague. But and it kept all the prayers. They're like they had to do so. They're drinking and they're thinking and they're doing the thing. So, but that was quite a big sacrifice to become a monk, obviously. But there were a lot of people who put thinking and philosophy way, way above that. And then of course there's the artist class, which I didn't even mention because they were so small. It's not really I mean, I'm married to an artist, and I don't have anything negative to say, but the chances of you making it as a court jester, or as an artist, or even a cook, were not as good as making it as a blacksmith or somebody in the military. So, what does this have to do with surviving today in 2024? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. And as capitalism continues to degrade and collapse, which it will do, it's up, we have to figure out a way to enjoy life every day. Much like people in the medieval times and different times when capitalism has failed, have had to figure out how to survive. And we can find happiness. We absolutely can find happiness. I know I'm sounding like a downer, but we absolutely can find happiness amidst the darkness. And there's a little secret there. A lot of that happiness involves just going outside and reminding yourself that you're a part of the world, and the world doesn't give a shit. The world doesn't give a shit about all the humans doing their stupid little things. The world is going to be there. And whether you believe the world was a gift from one specific God, or you believe the earth just is an absolute miracle from the universe, that is who we are. That's what we're a part of. And that means surviving in an imperfect human system and figuring out how to do this. And the short answer is become a blacksmith. My invitation to you is to become a blacksmith. And how do you become a blacksmith in 2024? Uh, in 2024, the way we do that is that we actually go forward and learn skills that the people who have money, the corporations need. And one of the best ways to know that, because actually this is kind of an interesting continuation of the story in 2013, right? So in 2013, there was all this hubbub about, starting up coding. Code.org got started, and what's his name became a multi-millionaire. He already was a millionaire, the guy who made Code.org. But, he's like, hey, we got to do this thing. But he was largely acting on behalf of corporations who were finally like, oh, damn, we don't have anybody to make our horseshoes. I mean, that's just, kind of stretching that analogy even further. Um, but that's what it was. It was like, and so then you started seeing GitHub have their own university, and now there's free Amazon education and free, all these big corporations with lots and lots of money are panicking because nobody can teach other people how to use their thing. They can't keep what they're making, their product, up and running. So we can use that. You and me in our jammies drinking coffee can use this intense, need that these corporations have, the people with money, to do that. Mm. And so um, they have a lot of things there. And thank you for that, Moz. We'll talk about that in a second. But so the bottom line, so for an old part like me, who's like, I have young people in my family, and I've worked with young people a lot, and I'm helping people change their stars that are like. The most famous one is the guy who got a philosophy degree, went into massive debt, and had no way to find a job. Corporations don't like people who think for themselves, and that's their only thing they do. They don't like it. They want you to, and Sir Ken Robinson, we were watching him the other day, and we're talking about how, the society that we have today rewards a particular type of thinker, a particular type of skills, and everybody else gets filtered and thrown on the ground. Dancers, creatives, artists, and all that stuff. And if you want to hear some really stinging critique of that system, Sir Ken Robinson, go look up the TED Talk there, and you can watch it. It's very disturbing. Because creativity, in his opinion, and I completely agree, is as important as literacy, is as important as reading and writing. Because a lot of these corporations who think, oh, hey, we need people to, punch the numbers and do the math and, come up with the chemical formulas for us or whatever the hell it is, or program our AI, they're finding out that the people that only know how to do that, who don't have creativity in their brain as well, or developed in their brain, are not working out. And so they're like, oh, damn, we got to find people who are more creative. It's funny. It seems like it goes in cycles. I remember when I was in university, I got told all the time, if you're going to go into business, make sure you get a liberal arts degree. because the business people want creative thinkers. And there, I mean, that makes sense, right? Because if you can't synthesize ideas and see patterns and all the things that come out of creativity, your brain just doesn't work. I mean, mathematical things are good, but you should also be able, I mean, even in coding, if you can't see the patterns and create structures and models in an abstract way, you can't code. It is very much a creative endeavor, even if it feels like it's mostly, just an analytical thing. So this long video is hopefully just an invitation and an explanation of why I think everybody should learn baseline technical skills. And to me, that includes the following: Linux. I know so many people out there are like, what the hell is Linux? Why would you start with that? You know, and spreadsheets, we're not going to learn spreadsheets, but you really should learn spreadsheets. If you don't know how to do a spreadsheet, I mean, a spreadsheet is just a way for you to think in a very, very creative, wonderful way about numbers and things that matter when it comes to business and management of yourself and everything. But yeah, so Linux, I personally believe the command line. When I say Linux, as soon as I say Linux, to me that means Linux in the enterprise Linux, right? Because enterprise Linux is where the money is. Using Linux on your desktop might be fun for you. It might be kind of a fun novelty, and a lot of people enjoy it. But I don't recommend people learn it necessarily up front, because that's not the thing that's going to get you a job and get you that sweet blacksmith job, right? Where you're going to be making, money that is going to keep you very comfortable. You're going to get a nice, happy remote job if you want one. You're going to be able to kick off at like 3 o'clock, like I do, and go enjoy the outdoors and remind yourself that there's something bigger than this stupid job. So that's what I suggest. So learning Linux, learning the command line, learning how to code. I think God is silencing me right now. It's either that or it's intense allergies that I've had because we had so much pollen lately. The life I'm dreaming of, yes. Um, if you truly want to control your time, if you want to have insurance, if you want to have enough money to actually get a house, there's not many options. You either have to do a professional career, one that requires a lot more dedication, or you have to go into tech. And we go through the list. I'm not going to do it right now, but we go through the list of tech jobs. In fact, I'll do another video immediately after this about which tech jobs am I talking about to use as a basis, as a baseline. Where are the blacksmith jobs, so to speak? And we're gonna talk about that in another video. So make sure you watch that video. So, but the baseline skills are Linux, command line, internet, containers, and how to code. Minimally know how to code. It doesn't mean that you have to be the world's best programmer. In fact, the Code.org video, there is an engineer that they interview who says that very thing. It's like most coding is not complex algorithms. Most coding is making this thing work so we can get this thing out. And that does not necessarily always require what you would think. So learning basic coding. And in our case, in the beginner boost, we're going to learn Python and JavaScript at the same time. And then we're going to do 12 weeks of Go enterprise development, which is focused on the most in-demand blacksmith language you can learn in 2024. Go, hands down, hands down. There's lots of other coding going on. Please don't take this the wrong way. But if you want to make good money in the enterprise, right now, that money is very, I mean, go search for right now. Go do your own evaluation. Go search for Go jobs right now. It's insane. And that's it. And then we'll talk a little bit about networking. We'll learn enough HTML and JavaScript and HTML and CSS to make a basic web page, because everybody's expected to know how to make a basic web page. If you don't know how to make a basic web page, you are, in a problem. I can see my anonymous gifter is buying me beer with silly names as usual, trying to push whoever. Yeah. Either they're really clever and they're being fun trolling me, or they're really stupid and they're giving me free money by thinking I'm going to care about subscribing silly Trump names. Either way, I'm good. I thank you for the beer. Mm, that's it for this video. Um, just become a blacksmith.